Well, I visited you, and I visited my mom and pops and my sister and my brother-in-law, and hung out with my nephew, and brought my tiny Pat Junior baby on an aeroplane over to see y'all. And I will ask you a question. Isn't he just the cutest little guy?
So Isn't
he just so adorable?
I mean, we had a moment where it was just talking about like how it's like, oh, you are currently like watching over perfection.
Yeah.
Good luck. Like just completely untainted, just like that. Just idyllic. All right, just can we hold this
all
state?
Smiles and giggles,
joy, pure joy. Can we hold this state? Can we lock it in?
Oh, it's gonna be hard.
It's
gonna be tough
as reality encroaches. Can we just?
But traveled to Montreal, took a couple of planes. Baby laughed and giggled and slept on the plane on the way over and on the way back.
So here's the thing, like early signs indicate that baby likes people.
Oh my
which
God,
is not a you thing, but
no, it's not.
But it's in there.
It just, hey, here's a baby, smile, goo goo gaga, got really lucky, really lucky with that. Oh my God. Just don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up.
Like me and Paige went out and we had lunch right before the podcast, and the baby was in a high chair, like laughing and smiling at the waitress, and she's like, "Oh, what a sweet little guy!" And like I looked at Paige and I'm like, "This temperament is a gift, and it can be ruined by life events. We just have to be ready to kill anyone who will fuck with this." Like, oh my God. Oh, it's a lot of pressure. It was nice being able to hand Pat Jr. to like my mom and dad. They got all emotional and shit. And then commenced the now that I am a parent, it's time to hear the remainder of that crazy shit I wondered about that I didn't understand when I was a kid. Like how my mom would be like, "Oh, these fucking kids." And would just change all the clocks in the house and tell us it was time for bed.
Time to squeeze the last little bit of juice out of this fucking dry ass, out of this stone. The last drop of blood. Oh my God.
So for folks listening at home, this was the 90s. There were no automated clocks. They were all personally set. So mom and dad could totally go around the house and be like, "Yeah, it's 9 p.m. right now. Whatever."
And this is not the first time I've heard of this. I actually going like, "Oh, it's actually later. Yeah, it's time for bed," when it's super not.
I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." Because I never caught on. I never caught on. My sister caught on. Of course she did, because she's the genius of the family. But like I never caught on. So I'm sitting there, mouth agape, just going, "Oh, what?" And then I'm like, "Hey mom, get this. Did you ever notice that I stole cookies every single day out of your cookie bag for like 10 years? She's like, "No, I thought the kids that I babysat did that."
Oh,
no, mom, it was me. You took a nap from 3 to 4 p.m. every single day. And I went, "You know what? If I take a random amount of cookies, if I take 2 today or 3 tomorrow or whatever, you'll never figure it out." And she didn't.
Okay.
Got her.
But the consistency is there. You can never predict the amount. Yeah. Gaslighting is the ultimate babysitter.
Oh. So my mother actually admitted to me, "Oh, you know what was really funny when Patrick was a baby?" "What's that?" "Well, we would tell him things that were wrong, like brown cows give chocolate milk. But then we'd forget to correct him until he got into an argument at school." Oh my God. Really? Like, yeah, no, we'd forget all the time. We couldn't remember what we told you.
Cool. That's good. That's set up for victory right there.
And my personal favorite, you ever have, Willie, I don't know if you've felt this in your life, where somebody older than you, usually a family member, maybe a family friend or something, they tell you a story when you're like 15 or 20 or something. And then later they tell like your spouse or girlfriend the same story, but you're older now. Mm-hmm. And the story they tell them is the real story. And the one that you got when it happened was complete bullshit.
Okay, I feel like you've mentioned this before, but I forgot what it was pertaining to.
My dad starts to tell Paige, oh, you know, when I had the heart attack, right? You know, I had quit smoking, blah, 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 blah. And he had a heart attack when he was driving, right? And my mom's like, yeah, we were driving to the in-laws' house. And here's a detail that never got to Patrick up until this visit. My dad gets out of the car to like do a little walk around, like we're pulled off on the side of the road. And he looks at my mom and says, give me a cigarette. And she's like, well, you quit smoking. He's like, I think I'm going to die. Just let me have one last cigarette. Meanwhile, I'm in the car playing with my fucking Game Gear going, oh, I wonder if Dad's okay. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
And then he had his smoke and then got back in the car and then they went to the hospital. Fuck. And they're like, sir, you're having a heart attack. He's like, yeah, I know.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Man. I mean, I guess that you kind of
the last cigarette he's ever had in his life.
Yeah, I guess that one you kind of get a bit more. It's like you might want to save that for later. No, there were a couple of those, but usually, those were just like not like the real version comes out later, but it's more just like, oh, when you get older and like the story comes back up again, there's details about like, hey, what happened to this person that used to be around, and like
they're dead.
Or no, just like, oh, they weren't around anymore originally. Like, oh yeah, they like moved away or whatever, and not like, you know, there were later on you find out that it's not that they moved away, but there were allegations of criminal nature
yeah, okay.
that you know, that were not brought up at the time. Where you're like, oh, cool, okay, right, that was actually, yes, there was, got it.
But yeah, no, it's Paige and I were like sweating the whole trip over, just like, oh my God, we're traveling with an 8-9 month old baby. Oh my God. Oh, is he gonna freak out? Is he gonna freak out? No, he's being such a cute baby that on the way back to Vancouver, the flight attendant wanted to hold him. And we're like, okay. And she's like, oh my God, you know, I'm at that time in my life where everything in my body's telling me I need to have kids, but you know, it's just not time yet. And I'm like, this is kind of personal. this is like,
you're a whole, yes.
Like, I understand he's like you don't have to tell me that my child is activating your ovaries on the plane.
You are like just emitting an AT field destroyer of just truth is being uttered without being asked for, you know? Like, wow, he's so cute, you know, I never thought, but here we are. It's about that time, and I just can't get him to really commit to it, and I don't know what I wanted. Anyway, here you go. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's basically been my week. I saw you, I saw some friends, I saw family. Baby's amazing, best baby ever. I don't know if I talked about Quebec last week. Did I on the podcast? I talked to you about it.
Yeah, there. The a little bit of it was touched on. I think the upon re-entering.
Did I talk about the fucking rental car on the podcast?
I want to say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So this feeling of like, did we make the right decision to move? Right. There was that, and then there was upon leaving. I'm like, inside Quebec, a disproportionately low amount of people smiled at my baby. Bad sign. Like, we went from 90% of passersby
That's a weird stat.
smile
Okay.
and wave at the baby to, like, I don't know, 40%?
Really? Is that's not that's not a bias? That's not a bias. You feel that's a real.
Oh, absolutely. And same thing with the dog. Actually, we didn't bring the dog, but when we lived in Montreal, I'd walk the dog and like most people wouldn't even glance at him. Move out to Vancouver, people were like, "Oh, what a cute doggy!" Like every person on the street.
I mean, look like that. There's stuff that I can echo and underline here about our different experiences. I don't feel like I've gotten the world I'm in hates babies vibe.
I think
that
this might be the single most important descriptor of any location is, do they smile at my admittedly by you perfect child?
This sounds very extreme based on the experiences you've had. This, I don't know, man. I'll take your word, but grain of salt, that's crazy. That's like,
it is crazy that somebody wouldn't smile at that adorable baby. Crazy. Anyway.
All right.